Good morning, welcome back. So my brother from another mother has put a video out this morning asking for owner-operators to give their opinions on what the biggest problems are in the industry. Is it getting drivers? Is it the cost of fuel? Is it the cost of this? Just for your input basically. Now I'm not an owner-operator, but I've been round enough of them and I know enough of them to have a good take on it. Now, for the sake of not being able to get drivers because there's a driver shortage, which there isn't, the fact that there's a driver shortage is because half of us are stuck in RDCs waiting hours and hours to get unloaded, to get on the bay, or get paperwork. That amounts to the driver shortage, because rather than just being down the road and getting loads delivered, we're sat doing sod all, waiting. And not being able to get drivers because there's a driver shortage is, no, it's the companies won't pay the wages that we should be earning. It's like a lot of companies out there want to pay you minimum wage, so you've got your arse off the sofa and off the dole. You've spent money on getting your HGV licence, which now I think is the best part of £3,000. Luckily when I did it, it cost me 980 quid, including VAT tax, which is another fucking problem with this fucking bollocks. I'll get onto that in a bit. You've outlaid that cost to earn minimum wage, where you could go down to Tesco and in more an hour, and you've not got to spend thousands just to get yourself a job. So people don't want to do it, and when they do it, they don't want to be out in a tin can 4 nights a week. Do you want to be at home with the family? But you were coming out the other side of being imprisoned in your own home for the past God knows how long it was. You know, that sort of miraculous thing that turned up and made us all a prisoner in our own homes. I'm not mentioning it for YouTube legal reasons and terms and conditions. So everyone got used to being at home. Nobody wants to go back to work anymore. Everyone wants to work at home. Where I did say in another video, I reckon I could work from home, and I'll try it one day in the odd. But I'm not trucking temp, so fuck it. I'm not that much of a dickhead all the way out. So yeah, that's half the problem. Is no one wants to be away from home. People want to go to work and then come home at night, and this isn't no 9 to 5 living, like I've said before. So that's why companies can't get the staff, because they don't want to do it. And it's not a case of companies want to pay you minimum wage. They don't really have a choice but to pay you minimum wage. Because if they pay you any more, they're going to be running the company at a loss, and they're not going to have a company for very long. Because of the cost of running the company, the average worker does not see. Now the average worker gets his pay packet at the end of the week and looks at it and goes, national insurance tax, that's paid. Your working tax that you get taxed anyway, your 20% tax, I can't remember what it comes under on your bloody wage slip now. But anyway, yeah, and then any other deductions. Now, if you run a company, that isn't your tax bill, because you've got to run a vehicle, which if you bought it second hand or brand new and you bought it on a finance deal, you'll be paying tax on that. And even if you bought it outright cash, you were paying 25% VAT on that. And there's another tax as well, is it vehicle duty tax or something like that? I'm not sure. So you've got the government tickling your arsehole. Then to run that vehicle, you've got to buy road fund tax. That's just to put it on the road. And then you've got to have fuel in AdBlue, which is charged fuel duty tax. And on top of the actual cost of your fuel and the fuel duty tax, they bang VAT on it, tax. So you're getting taxed on the tax. Then there's your insurance. However much that costs you, that's going to have 25% tax on it. Your finance arrangement, that's going to have 25% tax on it, as well as the 25% tax of the vehicle anyway. But that'll be built into the percentage of your finance rate. Then you've got to buy a trailer, so that's going to get charged VAT as well. This is where all the costs come in that people don't see. Then you've got your business rates, tax, corporation tax, capital gains tax, if that comes into it. I'm not sure, I can't really remember now. I think you have to earn over a certain amount before that gets taken into it, but it's tax on a tax on a tax on a tax. And you wonder why half of these businesses are going to the wall and people aren't making it. And then when it's all said and done, if you've got a delivery in London, your wagon's either got to be compliant, so you've got pretty much have a fairly newish wagon, which is going to cost you more money, more tax, more VAT. Because if you have an older one that doesn't comply with ULEZ, it's going to cost you 200 quid a day to drive into London. And all these other ULEZ places that are popping up, which is tax. And the best thing about the ULEZ bullshit tax is these vehicles are built and designed that not many filters in them, diesel particulate filters, the air that comes out of them is cleaner than the air that goes into them. So if you don't want to be an asthmatic anymore, this is a joke by the way, go suck on the exhaust pipe of an Arctic unit. You'll be fine. Don't go and do that. I'm taking the piss and being sarcastic. But that's the irony of it. All these new cars now, they're designed that the air that comes out, the emissions and that come out the back of them is cleaner than what goes into them. Especially in highly polluted cities and stuff like that. But no. It's just taxes on taxes, it's government. And also I've got nothing against foreign drivers. I've seen some of them and they're amazing at some of the things they can do with an Arctic unit. Now don't get me wrong, there's also the shit ones as well. And there's good British drivers, there's shit British drivers. I'd class myself somewhere in the middle because everyone has an off day. It's not the foreign drivers I've got a problem with, it's the foreign companies, because they don't pay anything in this country. They have to buy the little green card, blue card, whatever it is, so that they can drive over here. But that's neither fucking there. They have long range 1,000 litre tanks. Then they'll have twin tanks as well, so they'll hold 2,000 litres of diesel. So they'll fill up abroad where it's cheaper, come over here, go around for a week, and then up on a boat, back over it, and then fill up again when they get over there. So they're not contributing anything whilst they're here. So they charge cheaper, and then they get cheaper, they do it for cheaper. And then the British companies go to the wall because they can't compete. Because the British companies that are going to the wall don't go abroad. They're UK only. And this is half the problem. And a lot of these one-man bands that are doing it and being successful at it, they've either got they're really well-known connections that'll literally look after them and give them all the best jobs so they can earn the money. And that's not a dig either, that's fucking good on you, you've built that experience up. Because you've been doing it as a company driver for what, 10, 15 years, maybe longer, before you've built up the connections and the experience that I'll have a crack at it myself. So you can handpick the best paid jobs. But a lot of these people that are setting up now, it's mainly because they're female and they've got OnlyFans to subsidise the company, or the missus is on OnlyFans to subsidise the company. That's how they're doing it. Now, I looked into doing it myself and I couldn't be arsed at the end because the amount of paperwork and bullshit you got to go through. This is going to be quite a long video, by the way, probably. So you need your owner operator CPC. This is a load of bullshit and bollocks you've got to go through. You need your own license, which if you've got one vehicle, one HGV, you need about 12 grand or thereabouts in a bank account at all times to cover the cost of breakdowns and maintenance that might pop up. So that needs to be there, and for every additional vehicle you put on the road after that, it's another £2,500. So if you've got 10 vehicles, you're probably looking in the best part of 20-25 grand that you need to have access to at all times. You can't just say, oh, my house is paid off, it's worth 150 grand, I can put that up as collateral. It doesn't work like that. That money's got to be there in a bank account or on a credit card that you can get instant access to. So there's that expense as well that you need. And if you set up tomorrow, you've got to have enough funds to fall back on to last you a maximum of 90 days. That's got to cover your fuel costs, maintenance, breakdown, and all that. All that's got to come into it. You've got to last a maximum of 90 days before you see any return. Now there is companies out there that will pay you every 2 weeks or every month, at the end of every month. It depends how they do the accounts, but by and by it's usually usually quarterly, every 90 days. So you've got to last a maximum of 90 days of running broke. So that old license money that you've got, you're going to be dipping into. You're not supposed to, but they do. It's the only way they can make it through. Well, if you've got other people, if you've got a fleet of 10 wagons, say, you need that money coming in you to pay a wage, because a company man isn't going to sit there and say, oh, next, expect excuses off his boss. Like, oh, I've not had the money come in, so I can't pay you. It's like, I don't give a shit, I've got bills to pay, I've got kids to feed, I've got a roof to keep over my head. You said the job was weekly pay, you pay me weekly, you don't pay me every 90 days. It's not a case of when I get paid, you get paid. Bollocks. It doesn't work like that. So these companies have got a hell of a responsibility and stress on the shoulders to make it through every week, to be fair. And then they've got all the taxes that they've got to pay behind the scenes and all the costs of running the company. Because it isn't a case of 10 wagons earns me, I don't know, say, for example, 100 grand a month. Oh, that pays me drivers for the month, that pays me fuel costs for the month, and that's it. No, you've got all your other, you've got your electric bill, your water bill that the company uses, because you'll have your yard. You've got your business rates and all your taxes and all that that's got to be paid. If you've got office staff, they've got to be paid. It's a bit of a fucking headache. So I can, if you're a farmer, you get government subsidies to help you. All these other industries that get government grants to help them. HGV industry gets sod all. And if you've got a driver that's a bit of a cunt and gets pulled by VOSA because he hasn't reported a defect, it's not just the driver that gets fined, the company gets fined as well. So you've got to have that niggle in the back of your head as well. You've got to have trust in your employees to do the job right. And I can understand why when my granddad wanted my dad to take over his haulage company, he said, fuck this. And this is back in the early 80s when a lot of underhand and scrupulous things you could do to make money, you could get away with. You couldn't get away with half of that now. It's like years ago, you used to have the Frisbee tachograph, the paper one. Some still do, because they still want old trucks. Now, if you had an infringement on that, it'd be out the fucking window at the end of the day. God, oh, I had a day off. That was the excuse to use. Well, how come it's done like 500 mile? Don't know. Now, they were me like, that was it. No more was said. There's a lot more back then you could get away with. You can't get away with anything now. Everything's set up against you. cost of everything, the government, with the rules and the regulations. And at the end of the day, anyone who owns a wagon or drives a wagon wants to do is be an arse on a seat, go deliver what they've got to deliver, pick a collection up, and then go home at the end of the day. That's it. That's all we want to do. We just want to get in, do a job, and fuck off home. That's it. We don't want to be fucking going past a checkpoint every couple of hours in your arse going like a rabbit's nose. Oh fuck, this is all I need. With all the fucking other stress and bullshit you've got to deal with. I wouldn't want it. I've looked into doing it myself. I don't want it. It's easy to take a wage, park it up at the end of the day, just go home. Not my problem. I think that's the attitude that's becoming a bit rampant with this country now. Is not my problem. Everything is someone else's problem. Everyone wants an easy life. That's what it is. I wouldn't want one of a company. Fuck that. Too much bollocks, too much responsibility. The only people I want to be responsible for is me and my kids. I don't even want to be responsible for my missus. She's a grown adult, she can do what she wants when she wants. Get on with it. You're not my responsibility. I'm my responsibility, and I'm responsible for my kids, that's it. Anyone else, you're big enough and ugly enough to look after yourself. I hope I made your point. I probably haven't. Well, I'll probably catch you later on Discord. To everyone else, I'll catch you another day, another way. Bonjour!